Welcome and good morning. I'm Tracy Strating, the director of the Michigan Assistive Technology Loan Funds at MI-UCP. And I'm going to spend a few moments just talking about some housekeeping matters before I introduce our wonderful partner, friend, and speaker, and all-around enthusiast in a few minutes. So I want to talk a little bit about our plans and where we're headed, things that we've been up to for just a couple of minutes here at the beginning, and some changes in housekeeping, like I said. So I'm going to start by talking about a little bit about a conference that the CEO of MI-UCP and I attended in Washington a couple of weeks ago. It was a very important conference, and the reason is that in order for Michigan's persons with disabilities and their families to be appropriately served by folks who know how to serve them, which in terms of funding for assistive technology. And when I talk about assistive technology, I know most of us here know what assistive technology is. And in a few minutes, Jileesa is going to talk about assistive technology for recreation, which is just a wonderful topic. But there are all kinds of assistive technology, everything from bathroom modifications. And if I just talk about things we've funded in the last year, hearing aids, just anything you can think of that folks use to improve the quality of their lives. And AT is different from person to person based on their self-identified need, which is what we use as a parameter within the Michigan Assistive Technology Program in general, which Jileesa is going to talk a little bit about a part of the whole program in a few minutes. But also what we do, which is the funding part of and the plans for acquiring assistive technology. So there are funds available through the Community Development Financial Institution Network for all types of folks who've been left behind in financial opportunity, and all kinds of funding for all kinds of things, including for green energy and all sorts of things that are happening within the Community Development Financial Institution world. And we at the Opportunity Finance Network conference a couple of weeks ago were able to learn new ways to serve people here in Michigan with the funds we have, as well as plan for our continued technical assistance and eventual approval as a community development financial institution. So I just wanted to show you a little bit about what we've been up to in terms of building opportunity here in Michigan for folks with disabilities. I wanted to also let you know we have a new brochure. I have an electronic version. Please email me at that email or go to our website that's listed there. Request brochures for your agency if you don't have them for yourself. These brochures go on through end users, for folks with disabilities and their families. Anybody, reach out. I'm happy to provide it in multitudes of ways to everyone. And the next thing I want to say is that the Assisted AT Talks, which has been a really wonderful way for us to get together and talk about disability topics ever since I first took this job, which was just as the state closed due to the COVID crisis. So we have come to the point where if we're going to be able to develop new funding opportunities with the staffing we have for folks with disabilities, we're not also going to be able to make presentations monthly on these topics. So I just want to let you know there's going to be a change to the schedule. The next AT Talk after today's wonderful talk is going to be in February. It'll be February the 8th, and I'm going to tell you that again in a couple of minutes when Jileesa's finished. But just so you know, those changes are coming up. So let me stop share. And as Jileesa's getting set up, I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Jileesa is a woman with a disability, a mother, an LGBTQ plus advocate, as well as an outdoor recreation assistive technology specialist. She works through the Michigan Assistive Technology Program, which MI-UCP and the funding is a part of that program to help people to obtain assistive technology in the state of Michigan. She works for a wonderful organization called the Michigan Disability Rights Coalition, which is a co-sponsor of this series, and it advocates for people with disabilities in all kinds of ways that that if we told you all of them, it would take the whole hour. So she has a passion for the outdoors. She enjoys hunting, fishing, camping, rock hunting. Through these passions, she informs the disability community. And I've been waiting to be able to get her on, and we had to wait for it to get cold enough that things slowed down enough that she was available. So I'm really proud to welcome Jileesa today to talk to us about this very important topic. Feel free to share your questions in the chat, or if you need an accommodation to speak, just raise your hand and I will turn on your ability to speak to ask her your question verbally. And thank you all again for attending.
Thank you, Tracy. So good morning, everyone. As Tracy said, I am Jileesa Irwin. So I'm going to go over the outdoor rec AT items that MATP has and kind of what MATP does as a whole. So on this slide, I have an image of like a little mock campsite of some of our outdoor rec AT items displayed at a state park. So that's one of the things that we do is we can have AT days at state parks and we show off just our outdoor recreations that can make camping a little easier for folks with disabilities and such. We have some e-bikes in this image. We have some tripods set up and some gardening stuff set on the table. So this is AT for outdoor recreation, and I am Jileesa Irwin. And let me figure out how I go to the next slide. So as Tracy said, I am a woman with a disability. I'm a mother and I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community. I do have a passion for the outdoors and I enjoy traveling. Hunting and fishing and camping and rock hunting are some of my biggest passions. Since 2010, I have attended and been a camp counselor at an event called Her Power. I have also been a personal assistant there, and I've been involved in the recruitment and registration process for Her Power. And as an outdoor recreation AT specialist for the Michigan Assistive Technology Program at Michigan Disability Rights Coalition, I bring in all of my passions and my personal identity, and I bring that into my work. So our mission at MDRC, we cultivate disability pride and strengthen the disability movement by recognizing disability as a natural and beautiful part of human diversity while collaborating to dismantle all forms of oppression. And then our vision is we envision a world where people with disabilities have a space for self-discovery, to cultivate community, and to develop pride. Our services are for people with disabilities, by people with disabilities, and their allies. So at MATP, or Michigan Assistive Technology Program, we have AT for folks to try out. So AT, as many of you know, is any item, piece of equipment, software, or system that uses, or that people use to help them do what they want to do. And this includes for older adults as well. MATP provides AT related supports around the entire state. A lot of times our demonstrations are in person. Sometimes like during the COVID times, we had a lot of virtual demonstrations, but now that COVID has kind of subsided, but also on the rise, we are in person. So we can go to the person's house, or we can meet at a public space, whatever they're comfortable with. We meet them and we do a demonstration. We have at MATP, we do awareness information. We do trainings. So with this, we can go to schools, we can go to different organizations, and we can teach folks about the AT that we have and kind of just train them on how to use it. And then they can, help other folks use this AT because they have the knowledge. And then we also have a loan program. So what this is that after the demonstration, if the individual is like, hey, I need a little bit more time, seeing if this truly works for me, we can loan it out to them. And this loan can be, 2 weeks, or it can be 30 days. And then sometimes we do something that's called an open-ended loan. So where this is a little longer period of time, say if they're waiting for insurance to give them access to this item, they can keep it for, 60 days or as long as they need it. So types of assistive technology that MATP offers, we have AT for community living, low vision, mental health and neurodiversity, outdoor recreation, gaming, gardening, environmental controls, and parenting with a disability. And our AT ranges from infant to however old the oldest person is. So there's no like certain age group that we really focus on. This is all the way from babies to the older generation. So AT for outdoor recreation. On the slide, I do have an image of a table set up with kind of all of our AT displayed for outdoor recreation. We have stuff for e-bikes, we have stuff for fishing and camping and hiking, hunting, gardening, rock hunting, and bird watching. That pretty much covers all the bases, and I will go into each category. So AT for fishing, we have a lot of items for AT for fishing. And I just realized it yesterday when this was the main items that I was showing. So we have AT for like low vision. So if someone has low vision and they can't see that their fishing pole is like bending, there's little devices like simple AT that like bells that can attach to the end of the fishing rod. And what this does is it indicates that there's a fish on the other end of the line. This is a little bit higher tech, so you would twine in the fishing line. And when you have a bite or the drag starts coming out, this is going to send a beep off. So this is another type of device. We just added in our inventory electric fishing reel. So that rather than reeling it like your standard fishing reel, you just press a button and this will reel in the fish that you have. Super simple to use. It's a tiny little 9-volt battery. Some fishing reels that are electric have bigger batteries, so they tend to be heavy. This one's just a teeny little square 9-volt battery, and it's super lightweight. We also have like a handcuff that will help an individual kind of have a placement onto a fishing reel. And if dexterity is an issue, grabbing onto a fishing reel may be difficult for them. And so this will kind of just place their hand onto the fishing reel. And on the other hand, if holding a fishing rod is hard, then this will grab onto the fishing pole, and then they can just kind of use like a wheeling motion, if you will, to reel in the fishing rod. And then I also have an image of an individual using a fish grabber. So if the sensory of touching a fish bothers folks, this fish grabber stops them from having to grab the fish. Also, folks who have limited use of one arm and they need help just grabbing onto the fish. The fish grabber can be placed like on a vest, and this can grab the fish for the individual and then hold the fish while taking out the hook. So that's a really cool tool to use. But we also have ice fishing items, and this is like my pride and joy right here. It took me a really long time to find an ice shanty that was accessible. A lot of ice shanties have triangle doors, which does not make sense in my mind. So triangle doors are not accessible for folks, especially those who use wheelchairs. And then a lot of ice shanties have the lip on the bottom of the door. So it's kind of like a trip hazard for folks. And so this ice shanty actually has a wide enough door to fit a wide powered wheelchair. And then also there is no lip, and this door is actually squared. So it's more made for human bodies rather than triangles doors. And then we also have found a lightweight auger that's electric. And so on this slide, I do have an image of folks in the ice shanty, and there's plenty of room. We have all of our ice fishing gear in there. There's 3 adults in this, and then we have camping chairs. So it's a larger shanty. So folks, we have lots of room. But we also found an auger that is lightweight, and this will just slice through the ice very nicely. And the blades are super sharp on it, so there's not that resistance of trying to get it through the ice, and it's very helpful. So all of this, we don't want to talk about AT for winter, but it is coming. So we have a couple items. We have an ice spike that goes on to the end of a cane or walker. And this just kind of helps like that non-slip. So if you feel like you're starting to slip on the ice, you kind of can jab the ice pick right into the ground so that it kind of stabilizes you so you're not slipping on the ice. It just gives that little extra traction. A colleague of mine who is low vision, she has actually put it on the end of her cane, and it has saved her from almost slipping when getting into a car. She felt like she was going to start slipping, and she jabbed the pick into the ice, and it prevented her from falling. One that you can ice cleats, they call them. You can wear these pretty much all the time in the winter time. They're kind of a pain to like get on and off, which is difficult for like if you're going inside your house and you don't want to tear up your floors. But what these do is they go on the bottom of your boot or your tennis shoe, whatever you're wearing, and they just kind of have little spikes or diamond shaped spikes on the bottom of them to just give you that extra stability, I guess, and extra traction. A lot of folks use these for ice fishing. I personally use them for ice fishing because sometimes the ice is very slick if there's no snow on them on the ice. So these are a great little tool for everyone to have. And they do make different versions of these. They have ones that are Velcro rather than rubber, which the ones that I have on the slide are the rubber ones, and those ones are difficult to put on. But if you have boots that you just wear outside, they're great to just keep on there. And then we also have a shovel in our inventory that has like an ergonomic handle. And so the point of the shovel is that it has two handles on it. And so there's less bending of the back. So if you have back pain or if it's difficult for you to bend over, this is kind of, you can shovel in an upright position and it puts less strain on your back. We also have AT for hunting. So hunting's right around the corner and folks are getting excited about this. We have an accessible pop-up blind. So rather than the triangle doors, which a lot of hunting blinds have, this one the entire side of this pop-up blind pops up. And so there's no lip to get in. Someone can roll right into the blind if they need. Someone doesn't have to worry about there being a trip hazard, and it's pretty spacious. I would say it's about 2-person hunting blind. And there's an image of a guy holding up a rifle in this picture. We also have items for scopes. So there's adapters that can go on the end of a scope, and this will have your phone attached to it, and whatever's being seen through the scope is being seen on your phone. They make ones that will attach to iPads. So if someone has low vision and they still want to hunt, but it's a difficult time seeing, you can zoom in on the iPad and just gives you that extra magnification. We also have a ghillie suit in our inventory. So this can go for hunting, so being camouflaged while hunting for deer or whatever it may be, but also could be for bird watching as well. So sometimes being camouflaged for bird watching is important. This is large enough to fit over a power wheelchair, and it just kind of like blocks out all the different components on a power wheelchair, or even your standard wheelchair. And it's easy on and off. It's poncho style. And it's very helpful for any of those. And then we also have a deer cart. So if dragging out any game, or even you can use this for hauling out wood out of the woods if you're camping, this just kind of gives like an extra little help rather than just dragging everything or carrying something. This has 2 big wheels on them, or on it, or 4 wheels, sorry, on it, and it just kind of helps out pulling rather than just carrying. We have AT for camping. So I kind of showed in the first slide that we had a tent that was it's an easy setup tent. So kind of like a canopy where you just pop up 4 poles. That's what this tent style is as well. Just you pop up 4 poles and your tent is set up. It literally can take 2 minutes to set up. I would say it's difficult to reach like the middle where you have to push up in the center of the tent to kind of get everything locked into place. But other than that, it works pretty well and easy setup. We also have marshmallow roasting sticks. So these are telescoping. So if you're worried about someone being too close to the fire, these are telescoping so that they reach a farther distance. Someone doesn't have to be right up next to the fire. It's great for wheelchair users. That they don't want their power chair next to the fire because of all the batteries and everything. So this gives them the distance that is helpful. And that's what the bottom image on the left is. And then on above that is a marshmallow roasting stick that is also telescoping. But say if it's difficult to rotate your marshmallow to get the perfect marshmallow, this is kind of like a fishing reel setup. So you can literally reel this marshmallow roasting stick and it will rotate your marshmallow for you. Folks absolutely love this. This is probably one of our biggest, like everyone is, wow, that thing's amazing. It's great for kids. It's great for people with disabilities who have a difficult time rotating that marshmallow. And it makes a perfect marshmallow every single time. We also have different types of camping chairs. So we have ones that are weight inclusive. So the weight limit on it is a little bit higher. We also have different chairs that are like easier to get in and out of rather than being all the way like down on the ground. They're a little bit higher up, so that can be helpful for folks. And we have ones that this can be like a sensory item, but it also can be for camping as well. So this is called the hammock chair, and it kind of just nestles up the individual's body. And this image is a picture of my daughter sitting in front of our fire in our house, and she uses this just as a sensory thing. You can rock in it, and it kind of just does like a little cocoon for her. Then headlamps are great for camping. So rather than like holding a flashlight, headlamp will just go onto your head and you just press one little button. They also make slide switches as well. But the press the button one is the one that I have found easiest for me. And I love using this for camping. I love using this for, going out to my hunting blind first thing in the morning when you don't have the best of light. But a lot of folks use these in their daily lives too. We had an individual who actually used this item in her kitchen. Her kitchen did not have the best lighting, and she's like, I have a really difficult time seeing my cookbooks. And so she used her headlamp and was able to see her cookbooks and what she was cooking. I've used this, to clip my daughter's fingernails when I just need that little extra lighting. They're great all around, and you don't have to hold a flashlight. So you have both hands available. And then I have an image of folks at Her Power. I have folks at Her Power using the roasting sticks, cooking hot dogs on there, and also using a hiking pole, which I'm not sure if I have. Yes, that's the reason why I have this on the slide. So we also have hiking poles to give folks that extra stability where like a walker might not be like the best option for like the different types of terrain. So walking sticks give a great stability if you're on different like slippery terrain, whatever it may be. Folks use these in the winter, so they come with like snow baskets that go onto the bottom of them, and they also have spikes on there, so again for the slip resistance. And a lot of folks like using these. We have someone who's using them to go birding, and they've used them all summer long, but also are going to use them in the winter to see how they work for them. So we also have items for gardening. We have partnerships with Mary Freebed, a Tawas community garden, where we've actually loaned these items to the gardens, and they It just makes their garden more inclusive. A lot of folks love gardening, and it's just a way to help with mental health. And so this first image on the slide is of a kneeler. So it's in the bench position right now. So if standing for long periods of time is difficult for you, like this little bench seat will help you, be able to take a rest. Or if you have a raised garden bed, you can, sit on this and it will kind of just put you at the height that you need. But also if you flip it over and say if you're gardening or weeding on the ground, it can be a thick foam pad for you to kneel down. But the legs also help kind of are used for handles to help you get up off the ground. And then I also have amazing pruning shears on the top of this bench that have like a gear in them. So this helps folks kind of like slice through, 1/4 inch or smaller branches, and the gears just kind of help you grasp onto that and cut it. I've bought these for so many folks for their birthdays because it's just so very helpful for them. And then we have different types of weeding tools that will help get out weeds out of the garden or out of your yard. And this one that I have, particular one I have, is you push down the spikes into the ground. And then when you pull up, it grabs the entire root of the weed. And then there's a little trigger on there that will release it. So you're able to release it into your wastebasket, your yard wastebasket, or whatever it may be, wherever you want to put them. And we have different types of ergonomic shovels, some that are shorter and they're used for raised garden beds. But we also have long handled versions of these as well. Some that you can adjust the height to whatever height that you may need it. On this slide, or on this image, is of a little one using the ergonomic shovel that has an arm cuff on it. So the ergonomic part of the shovel, it kind of raises up rather than just a straight pole. And this helps folks with arthritis, just gives it an extra different type of grip. And then the arm cuff on there, so if someone had a difficult time gripping onto the shovel, they can just use their arm and they don't even have to grip. We have different types of seed placements. So if it's difficult for someone to know like the spacing of which seeds need to go, it's color coordinated square, it's 1 by 1. And it comes with a poker stick to just kind of help plant seeds. We have longer rulers. We have a push type seed planter. So you just push this in the ground and it has 1 inch space. And it's just a simple push into the ground or in your raised garden bed. So we also have AT for bird watching, different types of harnesses to kind of keep your binoculars close to your body. This is great for folks that have a difficult time holding on to things for long periods of time. This just kind of helps them keep them close. If you're out hiking and you're worried about your binoculars getting scratched up or losing them, again, just the placement of where the binoculars are held is a great tool. We have binoculars. So this is just a 1-lensed binocular basically. And sometimes it's difficult for folks to like look through both eyes. And so this kind of is just a single, you're able to see just through one eye. And I've heard folks say that it's just easier for their brain to comprehend what is happening and what is being seen through one eye. And then the last image on this slide is a whole contraption. So we have a lot of AT in here. We have a window mount that attaches to the window. And this kind of just is, you're able to have your binoculars stationary in one place. We also have a phone adapter on here. So this is put onto the binoculars. And this is, if someone was taking a picture of what was being seen, you also could zoom, the magnifying could be zoomed in even more. And whatever's being seen through that binocular is being seen on the phone. And then also on the window mount, we have a binocular mount. So sometimes binoculars don't come with the little space to put the bolt in to put it onto the window mount. So this will just kind of, it's a Velcro, easy on and off. And it goes onto the window mount. So that's a stationary thing. And then it also could be used for a tripod. It also could be mounted to a wheelchair if you have like the arm to connect mounting system on your wheelchair. This will connect onto that, which we're getting more into. We're finding like different arms and stuff and to mount to wheelchairs so that it can hold binoculars, so it can hold spotting scopes, whatever it is that the individual might need, and even iPads. So now we have e-bikes. So when starting this program, we really wanted to focus on getting folks to where they wanted to go. And so a lot of times with outdoor activities, you're going far distances, not always, but sometimes that might be difficult for someone to do. So we wanted to really focus on e-bikes. And so we've gotten a pretty decent sized inventory of different types and styles of e-bikes. So we have two-wheeled bikes, but we also have trikes. We have ones that go really fast and we have ones that kind of go slower. We have rugged ones that you can actually like take through the mud, you can take through tall grass, and then we have ones that are just used for, pavement. So they're all different. They all are different shapes and sizes. And like, we like folks to actually try out these items and then they can make the decision of which one works best for them. So on this slide, I have images of a couple events that we did last summer, one in Port Huron and then another one in Oakland County, just talking to folks with disabilities about the bikes. So probably one of our most favorite e-bikes, two-wheeled e-bike, is the electric XP. This one can go 45 miles on a full charge. It takes about, I would say, 6 to 8 hours to, if the battery is completely dead, to fully charge it. But depending on how much you use the throttle, how much you use the pedal assist, that determines on how many miles you're going to get out of a full charge. Like I said, this one has pedal assist. So that means when you're pedaling, the motor is going to kick in and it's going to help you pedal. But if you don't want to pedal, you can just use the throttle. This particular bike actually folds. It fits into like a 45-gallon tote. So if you're, going on a trip and you're taking an RV, folds into a 45-gallon tote and you can just slide it in the under compartment of the RV or in the back of the truck, wherever you'd like to place it. A lot of folks love using this one. And I mean, it has a light on it, has, a rear light on there. So it just kind of gives it indication.
Jileesa,
Yes.
can I be a terrible host and interrupt you to ask a question of my own?
Yeah, of course.
Does that model come in a bariatric? Like, what's the bariatric weight limit on that?
I want to say this one. Oh, I know this. I want to say that it is 300.
Okay. I'm going to be coming to a park near you when you do this next summer, because I don't know if this would work for me a lot or not, but I just think it's amazing. And so I just got too excited to sit here quietly watching. And everyone, if you want to ask her a question or either type it in or jump in, raise your hand.
Yes.
Questions. We want to have you understand. And you also, do you have a resource guide for the items in this presentation? You don't have to worry about it now, but
yes,
I would encourage people to, maybe you could email it to me and I'll attach it under the notes on our YouTube channel for this recording. And that way,
I definitely have that.
Okay, super. Sorry to bother you. I'll let you get back to it.
Nope, that is perfectly fine. So yeah, and I forgot to put the weight limits on these. That, I mean, it all varies, and then there's also like towing capacity. So like if you wanted to put wood on here, if you wanted to drag your gear out to your fishing spot, like there are specs that allow that. Some of these e-bikes can be quite heavy for lifting. And so like that's the only thing that I have found not so accessible about these. And you can get different versions, but this specific one is 64 pounds. So it is a little bit heavier to, lift and maneuver and all that. But this is a great bike. A lot of folks enjoy riding this bike. And this one has shocks, so it absorbs like all the bumps and everything like that. And it folds up, so that's great too. You can throw it in the back of your car. So then here's more rugged. This one does not have any shocks, so that means that you're gonna feel every single bump that you hit. This again goes 45 miles per charge. This one goes about 20 miles an hour. And it also weighs 65 pounds. Folks like this one too, because it's more rugged. It can get you out to your favorite hunting spot. And it's super simple as well. This one does not have an LED screen, where the last one did have an LED screen to tell you how fast you're going. But it does have an indicator on it to tell you the battery, how much battery you have left, which is important. This one also has pedal assist. It also has the throttle, just to give you that extra oomph. And again, you don't have to pedal. You can just use just the throttle. And I have an image of an individual and myself at an event. We're standing there smiling, and he is on, this is called the Rad Runner.
Hey, I have another question. I guess I
Yes.
started it. So, all right. So this question is, do you have to, this is from Shika. I think I'm saying that correct. I hope I am. Do you have tips on educational materials, getting Braille stuff made, and presentation tips? I do a lot of outdoor education and create materials related to invasive species. I want to make my materials as inclusive as I can.
So I do have resources for you. And if you'd like to send me an email, I have an email, my email at the end of the presentation. I do have resources for making documents Braille. Fun fact, everyone who is low vision or blind, not everyone knows Braille. So PDF versions or QR codes are a great way to make that accessible. So a QR code attached to a PDF file is a great way to do that. And then I forgot the second part of the question.
Let me go back over there. Hold on one second.
Okay.
I do a lot of outdoor education and create materials related to invasive species. I want to make my material as inclusive as I can. And then presentation tips he or she was looking for also.
Oh yes, presentation tips. We have a lot of those too, making things accessible. So say if you were going to hand out a PowerPoint, adding alt text to the images on the slides is helpful. Describing the images, which I have not been doing the greatest on this presentation, I apologize, but describing the images that are on the slides is a great accessible feature. Making sure that you have a captioner. Making sure that you're talking loud enough or having a microphone for folks and talking in a slower pace. Again, probably that I have not done the best on in this presentation.
I want to say too that I think we struggle with making everything accessible. I do personally, and I always think it's helpful. We have a note on the bottom of our flyer that says, let us know to fully participate,
Yes.
what we can do to make it more accessible for you. That's always a great thing too, because then if somebody knows that we're, as people with it, like I'm always looking for how I fit into the situation, and it gives them a chance to express to you if something's not accessible, which is helpful. We learn from that.
Yes,
and we can only
definitely.
and I can only get better.
Of course. And I'm always learning as well. And another thing is, if you know you're going to have a presentation, asking for accommodations. So someone might need really large print, someone might need Braille, someone might need like an actual like image descriptions. Someone might need handouts before the presentation, just to prepare themselves. Know how many slides there are. There's so many tips and tricks. And if you want to reach out to me, like I said, I'm sure we have a document on making things, presentations, and a lot of things accessible. It's difficult because not everyone's disability is the same. And so like, just ask the folks, like, what is it that you need to make this accessible for you?
They came back and said, I am already doing the presentation stuff like alt texts, red versus green, PDFs, happy face, yay. So
Beautiful.
So
Good job.
great.
Good job. So this is the Rad Runner. So then the next one is the Rad Rover. So this is made by Rad, the Rad company. And so this one is definitely one of our biggest bikes that we have. Um, you have to be 5'4" or taller to ride this one. So technically I'm not even allowed to ride this one, but this is probably one of my favorite bikes. This one has the shocks on it. This one's just more rugged. It has the wider wheels on it. And so it will get you through a lot of different terrain. This one goes 45 miles per charge. Again, depending on what terrain you're in, depending on how much you're using the pedal assist and what pedal assist level you're on. So it's, there's pedal assists on some of these bikes all the way up to pedal assist 5, which means that the bike is adding more power and you're pedaling a little less harder. You also have the throttle on this. It goes 20 miles per hour. So still really fast. And again, it depends on what kind of train you're on. You're not going to be able to go 20 miles an hour in the grass or tall grass. And this one's 65 pounds. So it's a little bit of a heavier bike. It's difficult to pick up and put in the back of your truck. It's not going to fit in the back of a car. It does not fold up, but it's definitely an amazing bike. They do make like trailers that you can attach to these bikes. So if you're going camping and you want to take all of your gear to a remote location, you can do that. You also have, you can put wood on it. You can take stuff out for ice fishing. I don't find ice and bikes a good combination, but they do make tires that are studded so that you're not slipping and sliding all over the place. So that's something that I would not personally do, but this is a great bike. And we have a lot of folks who enjoy riding that as well. And this is kind of the next image is of a Trek bike. And so Trek is a well-known mountain bike company. And this is one of our fancier bikes. It's higher in price range. And this doesn't really have, it doesn't have a throttle on it. So this makes it different. So there's different modes. There's eco mode that will help you a little less. There's turbo mode that you'll go a little bit faster. And I believe there's like a tour mode. So that's more like on your road, different types of roads where your pavement. But turbo mode, I believe you use for like actual mountain biking. It can go 20 miles per hour. And this bike's a little bit lighter. It's 51 pounds. This bike is easy to move around and maneuver. The aerodynamics on it are not as bulky as some of our other bikes are. And this one has different gears that you can switch it to. Again, it does not have a throttle on it, so it's just strictly pedal assist. We also have trikes. And so this is another popular one. Folks really enjoy using this. So we also have younger children who are just starting to learn a bike. Like a youth or young adults again starting to learn a bike, or even for the older folks who want to get back into bike riding, but it's difficult for them. So this trike has 3 wheels, and it has a comfortable seat on it. It has a basket. A lot of folks use these to go grocery shopping. And the trike aspect of it makes it easier for stability. This bike only goes 12 miles an hour. I personally, with pedaling as hard as I can and using the throttle, I've never gotten it to 12 miles an hour. So if you're concerned about, someone going too fast, this bike is for them because it does not go that fast. But it goes fast enough. It will get you where you need to go. This bike is also used, you mainly use this on just, your pavement, your concrete, some gravel or packed down dirt is okay too. But you don't want to use it in the grass. It doesn't have enough power to do that. We have 2 different versions. So one is a kid version of this. So meaning that you don't have such a high pedal assist. So therefore they're not going to go as fast. There's a way that you can go into the system and change all of that. But we also have the adult version, if you will, that will go, you can have it on pedal assist 5, meaning that it will go a little bit faster. And like I said, a lot of folks love this trike just because of the stability. It also folds up. This one is not as compact as like the electric was. This will not fit in a tote. I mean, all the parts come apart. You can, take the rear and the front off and have those separate. You can take the handlebars off if you'd like, if you need to fit them into a small space, and you can take the basket off and you can take the seat off. So it will all fit into a small car, but you kind of have to take it all apart to do so. I have found that it's not very easy to like put it back together, especially like on the main frame. Sometimes it's difficult to get all the bolts where they need to go, even though they claim that it's easy. And that's one thing that we like about our program is like we even learn about these different items because some of us have never used an e-bike before. So we're learning like, okay, so that we can tell folks like this is difficult to use, but other than that, it's great. Or we have, we tell folks like, you know what, this item did not work for any of us, but it might work for you. And we want folks to try that out and see if it truly works for them before they go and purchase it. So we have a different type of trike that this one, instead of pedaling in like a upright position, you're kind of laid back in like a reclining position. And the two wheels are in the front rather than the back. And then there's a single wheel in the back. And so this one is more for like mountain biking or off-roading. The handlebars are different. So they're not like your standard handlebars where they're directly right, kind of above you. You're in a seated reclined position, and the handlebars are kind of down by your side. This one is 56 pounds. Again, this is like the Trek. It has the eco and turbo mode, and this one could go 20 miles an hour. This one's a little difficult because everyone's leg length is different. So this one you'd have to adjust the person's measurements, adjust the pedals for folks. So that one's a little bit more difficult to navigate, but if it was yours, then you wouldn't have to do any switching. And this is called the Terra Trike EVO, and a little more expensive than the rest of our bikes. So I have a couple takeaway items, and if there's anyone who has questions, I will feel free to ask them in the chat, raise your hand, whatever is easiest for you. So I'm going to go ahead and do the takeaway, and then I will have questions. So the takeaway, we travel all over Michigan. So this includes the UP all the way down to the Ohio-Indiana border. We're all the time all over the place. This week, we're actually in Traverse City for the Recon conference. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we were in the UP. Last week we were in Detroit. So we're all the time going all over the place. We go to events and help make them inclusive. We have amazing partnerships with some of the CILs where they have outdoor recreation days, and I provide AT for outdoor recreation. I provide e-bikes just to make those more inclusive, make them more accessible for folks. We also sometimes host events. We have in the past put on art and play days. So this is just an event where there's a bunch of AT for art, but we also have the play aspect of different types of like e-bikes there, or different types of, like outside chalk and such. And then the most important thing is that we travel to the person's home, property, or park nearby, whatever they're comfortable with. We come to the individual, we talk to them, see what might be helpful for them, and we'll come back. So if the items are not working for the folks, and they say like, is there something else that might help me? Then we come back and we say, okay, does this one work for you? That's another thing to know about our program. If we don't have an item in our inventory, there's a good possibility that we can like do the research, see what's happening, see what's going on, and then we can possibly purchase that item for folks. So we have a variety of items to get folks outdoors, and we have 7 different types of e-bikes for individuals to test out and see what they like best and what meets all of their needs. Here is contact info for myself. Again, I'm Jileesa Irwin, and my email is Jileesa. So it's Jileesa at mymdrc.org. And that will be on the resource guide that I will be sending Tracy shortly after this. And then if you ever want to reach out to me, my phone number, you can do it by email, or I have my phone number, which is 248-860-5336. That is my work phone number, and feel free to shoot me a text message or whatever it may be. Give me a call and we will set something up.
Wow, that's great. I have some things to say, but while people are getting their questions together, please do put your question either in the chat, in the Q&A, or raise your hand, and I'll turn on your ability to ask your question. I just wanted to let people know that we bought a trike for a person, and I happened to speak to him yesterday. I mean, we didn't buy it for him. He bought it with a 0 interest loan. And he told me he put 420 miles this year on his trike. So
That's awesome.
it has, I think sometimes people don't realize that AT for recreation really levels the playing field in terms of being able to do some of those things. When you went through your hunting and fishing stuff, that's the way I grew up. Some of these things would make my ability to do some of those things I love much, much easier. So it's invaluable, the service you're providing, and I thank you so much for that. Because some of these are high ticket items. I wouldn't want to buy an e-bike without being able to try out whether or not it would work with my particular disability. And so it's a huge opportunity for people in Michigan to look at these things, to see, and then, look at opportunities to fund them after they try them.
Right.
So
And,
does anybody else? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I was just gonna say that we're always adding things to our inventory. Like I have an individual who was a avid hunter, he was on a shooting team, like he did all of these amazing like things, and he had an accident, and so now he's in a wheelchair, and he's like, I want to get back into that. And it was him that was like, I need something to hold this, I need something to hold that. And I'm like, okay. So I started doing research, and I'm like, okay, this is what we need, this is what we need. And so I'm actually going back and doing another demo with him next week, and like he's so excited to actually have something that will hold his gun for him, or help like that placement of like not hurting his shoulder, because his shoulder's been hurting him. So it's just, I don't know, it's just a fun, it's a fun opportunity. And I mean, I get to do all sorts of fun research and see what works for people. And I get to play with these cool gadgets. It's a great time.
Such a difference. Some years ago, somebody from MDRC friend taught me to kayak. And at my age and at my fitness level, it was amazing for me to find something I loved so much.
Yeah.
It was life-changing. I actually believe I wouldn't even be married had that not happened before. So it's an incredible thing when you realize I can love something that includes exercise and being outdoors and things that I thought I wouldn't be able to do before. So anybody else have any questions they want to ask? It looks like it's still at the moment, still pretty quiet. I'm just going to thank you so much again for presenting today. And I'll be making changes to the ongoing reservation, or not reservation, but link that you already have to the AT Talks as we change the dates going forward. And our next one in February the 8th, will be at 10 a.m. as usual on Thursday, and it will be on AT for transportation. So you'll see a change to your registration that you already have. Don't worry, you don't need to do anything but join on that day, and your registration that you already have will work fine. And I'm looking up, there's a question, good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so Nan wants to know the name and brand of the weeder tool that you had for gardening.
So I just typed it in the chat because I seen it. So that's called the Weed Zinger. And that will be on my, I haven't checked out my resource guide in a while. But that link will be on the resource guide, and I need to make sure, I need to update all the links and make sure. So it might be, but that will definitely be on there.
Okay, the recording of this conversation, the whole thing will be available on our YouTube channel. It usually goes up within about a week. And I will put a link to I'll put the document in the comments on YouTube. I'll have to figure out how to do that. I need a 12-year-old to explain it to me, but I'll get that done. And then after that, or before that, if you want the information before we actually put it up on the YouTube channel, feel free to email me, and Jileesa will send that to me, and I'll get it to anybody individually that wants to ask for it. So you ATTECH at mi-ucp.org. I'll put it in the chat real quick as people are typing any of their last or raising their hands. We'll be happy to get that for you. Okay, get that in there real quick, and then you can get that from there and reach out, and I'll be happy to provide that to you. Also, for all of those services that Jileesa talked to today are available at the website she gave you, and you can email her also directly. So all of those things are available. All right, I believe that's, oh, there's another one. Did I get it? Oh, no, that's not new. Okay, so I think that's it. Thank you all. And Jileesa, I always love talking to you. You give me such enthusiasm for life. So thank you so much for doing that today.
Yes. Thank you
and
for
I'm going to
having
watch
me.
for an opportunity to come try some of that stuff out.
Please do.
All right. Thank you. Y'all have a great rest of your day.